There is no bicycle chain. We're all gear driven. So what you're going to miss now is you're not going to have that slack in the throttle response and everything as you do on a D-Cell or Excel with a Harley Davidson. Here is your clutch. This is one pressure plate. You don't see a bunch of little bolts and screws. Okay, we're running one massive pressure plate here. So when you're adjusting that cable, all you're doing is taking up that slack a little bit, okay, because the cables do stretch over a period of time. But the nice thing is, if you did have to replace a clutch, this clutch pack is $300. You zip out these 10, 11 Allen screws. This cover comes right off. One nut for the clutch. You slide a new pack in, you're down the road. $300 later. It is that simple. Here's another nice thing. You see, this is our stator right here. A Harley stator, as you all know, is buried up underneath the flywheel up against the crankcase of the motor, so it's in the heat. Victory has done, they've pulled the stator away from the motor as far as they physically can possibly do it, like an alternator in a car. You never see it buried in the motor. It's up away from the engine heat. We're spraying 5 quarts of oil through here to keep everything cool. We don't lose stators, we don't lose clutches. Your starter motor is right here at the front of the engine. On a Harley, it takes us about a 4-hour job to do a starter. This is 2 bolts. This thing slides right out of the front of the motor. You'll never replace one, but that's how simple they are. And they're direct drive on the motor at all times. What you'll see here is our intake system, our fuel injectors, and people, this is one of the things that really impresses them the most, is the power and fuel economy we got on motorcycles. Guys like you should be getting over 50 miles to the gallon. You might get into the low 40s if you do nothing but thump it from stop to stop, okay? But people are blown away. Jim, what are you getting on yours? 52?
55 is the highest I've got. 2 up.
And the difference is our injectors are directly in the heads of the motorcycle, okay? Where Harley converted from a carbureted motor to a fuel injection, so they got their injectors sitting out here in the intake manifold. We're a true injection like today's automotive technology, where you see cars today, their horsepower numbers are up and so is their fuel economy. This is the same technology here. We're overhead cams, 4 valves per cylinder.
Roller rockers too.
Yeah. If you'll notice on a Harley, you got this big old air cleaner sitting here. It's in the way of your leg all the time. On a Victory, the air cleaner's up on top of the motor. Those covers on the sides of the engines, they're just covers, ignition covers and stuff. There's no air cleaners there. Why? Because we are sucking cold air out in front of the motor. What a concept, gentlemen. What Harley does and a lot of other manufacturers, they take this nice 1500 degree pipe, 400 degree head, and then suck in that nice hot air. Wow. Hot air doesn't make power. Give you an idea, when I was on the NASCAR circuit, they used to hand us our air cleaner at qualifying, because the trick used to be we'd take our air cleaner, spray them with water, throw them in the freezer at night, get ready to go qualify, drop them in the motor, and make tons of horsepower. An air cleaner alone is worth 12 horsepower, just a cold air cleaner. Just a cold air cleaner. So imagine what Victory's done by sucking in nothing but cold air. Very, very simple. What you'll see here is your overhead cam. These are your hydraulic tensioners. Everybody's familiar with the Harley little cam tensioner shoes in the Harleys. Here's our tensioner shoes. They're 12 inches long. They don't wear out. Okay, we tension the whole length of the chain, and it's hydraulically tensioned. As soon as you fire the motor, we tension right here. What we mentioned about the drive belt, this is the cover. 3 Allen bolts. Boom, off. Slap on another drive belt, you're down the road. Oil filters right here at the back of the engine. The plug's right up under here. One pan will service the whole thing. Drain 5 quarts of oil, your maintenance is done. Pour in your 5 quarts of oil right here. It's over, just ride down the road.
So no separate training fluid, separate oil?
No, sir. And it all comes in a kit. So if you were doing your own, you just buy the whole kit. It's got the crush washer, the oil filter, everything in it.
And the little spout.
We would then, yeah.
Yeah. Well, let me
It's so
put it,
easy.
St. Paul, Minnesota was down here training. They just did a presentation.
You
They're
void
going
your
with 8 of
factory
these,
warranty
and part
if
of the
it's not a-
presentation is the officers are going to maintain their own bikes.
That's
At least
good.
for that stuff. You know, fork seals and stuff, they'll take it to the shop, but they're like, hey, we can do our own oil changes.
Right, and that's what.
Is
You're
it
allowed
void
to
your
do that.
factory warranty?
Does not void it. This isn't Harley Davidson.
I'm just
Okay.
asking. Yo.
All we do is,
I know the answer. I just,
yeah,
you know, I'm
just
I'm
make sure
asking
you
the
keep
question.
your records that you did change the oil, because that would be a question if there was ever
Right.
a motor issue. Okay, and I'm going to tell you a funny story. We had a lady 2 years ago. She hit a boulder in the middle of the road, busted out the bottom of the whole case of the motor. She comes in. That's an insurance job for us. That's no problem. Victor, I need a part number for a complete 100-inch motor, because it's just insurance. $500 deductible for her. We just drop in a whole new other motor for her. We don't have one. No, you don't understand, guys. I just want to order a crate motor, stick it in the motorcycle. We don't have one. Well, I got this thing. Mike, you understand? In 11 years, gentlemen, 11 years, Victory has never warranted an engine in 11 years of existence, ever. They don't have to have spare motors. I can go into any Harley store and pick one off the shelf. Okay? That's how bulletproof these motors. I had to build that thing with new cases on up because I said, Mike, we don't have spare motors. We don't have engine issues. Why would you have spare motors? Good point. Good point. You know, and you can say that about several other manufacturers. Honda, you're not going to walk in and find a spare motor in the dealership. I know several dealerships at Harley that have an engine in stock. Doesn't happen with this technology. These motorcycles are bulletproof. And now that you got a skid plate, you'll probably never ever have a problem with these. And that's all you got to do. Change the oil. Now, the interval's 5,000 miles on these. If you're going to do a lot of track work and stuff, you might want to increase that interval a little bit if you're out there quite a bit. Like we just changed oil on one of these after 1,000 miles of nothing but track miles. And his comment was, the oil is not dirty. 1,000 miles of nothing but clutch work, and we're talking pounding these motors. 1,000 miles, he said it was still tan. The oil was still tan.
And what you'll notice on this, why I say that, the RPMs, you do not have to be up in the RPMs on this motorcycle to do your tight turns. Like on the Harley, all the Harley guys get on this thing and the RPMs are up, they're in the clutch all the time and they're all on that brake and the bike is going. You don't have
You can idle through the course.
You can idle it. The BMW guys are a little bit easier on this clutch or this throttle because it's that smooth.
Well, they're used to burning their clutch out if they don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, this clutch is tough. You know, I laugh at the BMW, a single disc dry clutch. Out here's probably got the same problem. In Arizona, they go like candy. It's ridiculous. I mean, any department that's going with BMW, they're going, oh my God, what a mistake that was, because the clutches go right now.
$1,500 a hit.
Yeah. We're dry. It's
don't
super
drop
dry
them
out
either.
there, super hot. Crazy.
All right. LT,
Have fun, man.
you the man.
I just want